Hey, chosen one. You've been carrying more than most people will ever know. Smiling on the outside, while wrestling with storms no one sees. You've been strong for too long. Waiting, praying, hoping, wondering if the help you need will ever actually show up. Here's your answer. Yes, it's on the way. But it's not coming from who you expected. It's coming from someone you've never met. This isn't just a coincidence, it's divine orchestration. God has been working behind the scenes, preparing a person, a moment, a door, specifically for you. They don't know your name yet, but their spirit is being stirred to show up, speak up, and pour out exactly what you've been praying for. Not because you begged, not because you proved yourself, but because God called you. And heaven never forgets what it promises. You didn't survive that pain for nothing. You didn't walk through that fire just to end up empty. Every lonely moment, every silent tear, every why me, it all mattered. And now? Now it's your season to receive. But here's the truth. What's coming may not look familiar. It might come through a stranger, through a divine interruption, through a blessing that makes no logical sense. And that's why you need to be ready. Spirit open, eyes clear, heart steady. Because when it arrives, it won't feel like pressure. It'll feel like purpose. If this already feels like confirmation in your spirit, pause and drop 77 in the comments. Let that be your agreement. And if you haven't yet, like this video and subscribe, because what you're about to hear may be the most important message you've received in this season. Get ready, chosen one. Help is coming. And it's not just help, it's prophecy fulfilled. Let's get into it. 1. The mockery was part of the mission. Chosen one. You've walked through seasons where silence was your only companion. And in that silence, you were laughed at. They didn't see the whole picture. They only saw the surface. So when you chose peace over performance, when you didn't chase what they chased, when you stepped away from the crowd to follow something deeper, they mocked you. They rolled their eyes. They whispered behind your back. They questioned your choices. And for a moment, maybe even you did too. But here's the truth. The mockery was never a detour. It was confirmation. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to awaken. You see, there's something sacred about being misunderstood. When the world can't define you, it often decides to dismiss you. And that dismissal? It stings, but it also separates. It marks you. It sets you apart. Not as punishment, but as preparation. Because chosen ones aren't called to follow the crowd. They're called to carry the weight of revelation. And revelation always comes with rejection. They didn't mock you because you were wrong. They mocked you because they couldn't understand what God was building inside of you. They called it strange. Heaven called it sacred. They called you lost. The Most High called you anointed. And every laugh, every insult, every time they said, "You'll never make it," was fuel. Fuel for your growth, fuel for your fire, fuel for your faith. You were being refined, not rejected. You were being shaped in private so you could rise in power, without bitterness. That's why God didn't let you clap back. That's why He didn't let you explain yourself. Because He knew your silence was stronger than their noise. Let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them think you've lost your way. Because when God elevates you, there won't be a press release. There won't be an announcement. But they'll feel it. They'll see it. And they'll have no choice but to watch. You won't rise to prove them wrong. You'll rise to fulfill what's always been written. And when you do, it won't be out of revenge. It'll be out of reverence. Because chosen ones don't rise by accident. They rise through fire. They rise through faith. They rise through seasons of being overlooked, while heaven was watching all along. They don't know what you've survived. They don't know the tears you cried after being left out. They don't know the dreams you buried just to protect your heart. But God knows. And He's been keeping score, not to punish, but to position. You've been trained in the shadows, your spirit strengthened by resistance, your discernment sharpened through silence. And now, that same silence they mocked, it's what preserved you. Because while they were loud, chasing attention, validation, and approval, you were learning how to stand still, how to hear from God, how to move with purpose, not pressure. And that's why your rise will be different. It will carry a peace they can't imitate. It will come with favor they can't explain. It will have depth they can't copy, because it was forged in a place they never entered. So the next time you remember their words, their mockery, their doubt, let it remind you of how far you've come, not in spite of their laughter, but because of it. It shaped you, it stretched you, it sent you deeper into the presence of the one who never laughed at your dreams. And here's what's powerful. Those same people who once questioned you will be the ones to witness your breakthrough, not because you need them to validate it, but because your elevation will be too undeniable to ignore. And some of them, they'll clap. Not because they always believed in you, but because they finally see what God was doing in you all along. But don't be moved by their applause. Your value was never in their approval. Let your heart stay soft. Let your focus remain clear. Let your purpose speak louder than your pain. Because the truth is, chosen one, you never needed them to believe in you. God believed in you first. And His belief? It's more than enough. 2. The hidden assignment on someone else's life. Chosen one. You've been carrying the weight of your calling for a long time. Quietly. Faithfully. Often with no applause, no confirmation, no visible sign that the breakthrough is coming. And in those silent moments, maybe you've asked, does anyone see this? Does anyone even know what I'm carrying? Am I really not forgotten? Let me tell you something sacred. While you've been walking in the dark, someone else has been receiving light. While you've been crying in private, someone else has been stirred in their spirit. And they don't even know why. Yet. Because help is on the way. And it's not coming from someone familiar. It's not from your old circle. It's not the friend you've known for years. It's someone completely new, a divine stranger. Someone you've never met is being awakened right now. They're feeling led, nudged, pushed even, to make a move that has everything to do with you. They can't explain the urge. It doesn't make sense to their mind, but their spirit is listening to something higher. And that voice, it's pointing them toward you. This is what you didn't know. While you were praying, they were being called. While you were asking God for direction, someone else was receiving instructions that link directly to your breakthrough. Because God moves in pairs. Your need activates someone else's obedience. Your cry unlocks someone else's calling. And though you haven't met, heaven has already introduced your names. This is the beauty of divine orchestration. You don't need to strive. You don't need to chase. You don't have to knock down every door. Because when God schedules a meeting, nothing can delay it. Nothing can block it. And no one can take your place at that table. You see, while you've been trying to hold it all together, God has been working in secret, preparing someone with the keys to your next season. They might carry wisdom. They might carry finances. They might carry connection, insight, or even shelter. But make no mistake, They're carrying what you've been praying for. And here's the part that humbles us. They don't even know you. Not yet. But God has written your story into the margins of their life. He's impressed your need on their heart. He's sowed your name into their spirit like a seed, quiet but growing. Maybe they've been feeling restless. Maybe they keep thinking about a place, a person, a purpose they don't fully understand. That's not coincidence. That's divine assignment in motion, and they're not coming out of charity. They're coming because they're called, because helping you is part of their obedience, part of their elevation. You were never meant to carry this alone. That's why heaven is aligning help, customized, strategic, right on time. So don't be discouraged by what hasn't happened yet. The silence you've felt is not absence, it's setup. The very thing you've been waiting for is on its way. Not late, not lost, just waiting for the moment when both of you are in position. That's how heaven works. It's never random. It's never rushed. It's always precise. And when this person shows up in your life, it may feel subtle, simple, unexpected, but you'll feel it in your spirit. The conversation will carry peace. The moment will feel ordained. The connection will carry weight, not pressure. You'll know. This was never just about help. This was about alignment. This was about fulfillment. This was about divine timing, meeting divine preparation. So stay open. Stay watchful. Keep your heart soft. Because what's coming won't announce itself loudly, but it will be undeniable. You've been faithful in a season where it felt like no one saw you. But God did. And He's been stirring someone, somewhere, to respond. They don't know it yet, but they're about to become an answer to your prayer. So don't lose hope. And don't let weariness blur your vision. Someone is being positioned for your breakthrough. And when they arrive, you'll remember this message. You'll realize God was always working, even when you couldn't see it. You don't need to chase. You don't need to force. Just stay aligned, because heaven already assigned someone to carry the blessing you've been waiting for. 3. Your spirit attracts what your voice has been praying for. Chosen one. There's something sacred happening behind the veil. You've been praying, asking, pleading, waiting. But what you may not have realized is this. Your spirit has already been speaking, long before your words ever formed. There's a law, an invisible one that isn't bound by logic or sound. It's a spiritual frequency. And your spirit, when aligned with heaven, starts to vibrate on a level that draws in everything assigned to your destiny. You don't have to chase. You don't have to shout to be seen. You don't have to beg to be blessed. Because the condition of your heart speaks louder in the spiritual realm than the volume of your voice in the physical. Every time you chose integrity when compromise was easier, every time you forgave when resentment felt justified, every time you worshipped when your world was falling apart, you were releasing a signal, not to people, but to heaven. And that signal? It started to pull what belongs to you toward you. It's not magic. It's not manipulation. It's not hustle. It's alignment. Because when your heart lines up with your calling, when your actions reflect your faith, and when your soul stays surrendered, everything meant for you begins to move in your direction. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to perform. You don't have to compete. You just have to remain faithful. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. There's a reason why certain people feel drawn to you. They can't explain it. They just feel something. It's your anointing. It's your spirit's resonance. It's the spiritual weight you carry, not from talking, but from overcoming. You've survived battles in silence. You've cried prayers that had no words. You've walked through fire with grace. And now the residue of your endurance is attracting favor, not because you're perfect, but because you're positioned. That's why strangers are being stirred. That's why people you've never met feel connected to your story. They're picking up on the signal, not with their ears, but with their spirit. And they may not know your whole story. They may never understand the depth of your scars. But something about you makes them want to bless, want to open a door, want to give, want to help. That's not charm. That's not coincidence. That's divine magnetism. You've become the kind of vessel that heaven trusts with blessing. Because you didn't fold in the trial. You didn't curse God in the delay. You didn't lose your way when no one was watching. You stayed anchored. And now, heaven is responding. This is why it's so important to stay aligned, especially when nothing seems to be happening. Because something always is. Every act of obedience builds spiritual momentum. Every decision to stay soft in a hard world increases your gravitational pull. You're not waiting in vain. You're being refined. You're being positioned. And the right people, the right resources, the right relationships, they're already moving toward you. It may not look dramatic. It may not show up with fireworks, but it will be precise. It will be timely, and it will carry confirmation in your spirit. That's how God moves. Subtle, but certain. So don't let frustration make you misaligned. Don't let delay make you desperate, because desperation leads to compromise, but alignment leads to divine delivery. Think about this. When incense rises, it doesn't have to shout to be noticed. It carries fragrance. It fills the room slowly, intentionally, until it reaches the throne room of heaven. Your prayers are doing the same. Your spirit has been sending out a fragrance, layer by layer. And now, the response is beginning to return. This is why the right souls are finding you. Why doors you didn't knock on are opening. Why people are offering opportunities without you asking. It's not manipulation. It's not networking. It's divine attraction at work. Because heaven recognizes your signal. And the earth responds to the authority on your life. Chosen one, you've been releasing power in the unseen, and now what's been hidden is about to be revealed. So keep walking in humility. Keep moving in faith. Keep showing up even when it's quiet. Because what you're attracting is greater than what you've lost, and it's coming to find you, not because of who you know, but because of who you've become. The help you've prayed for, the clarity you've needed, the connection that changes everything. It's on its way. And your spirit has already made the introduction your mouth didn't need to make. Heaven heard you. The universe felt you. And now, divine timing is answering you. 4. Isolation prepares you for divine introduction. Chosen one. Let's talk about the silence, the space where it felt like everything and everyone disappeared. The calls stopped. The invitations faded. The doors closed, one by one. And for a while, it felt like you were walking alone. You looked around and thought, did I do something wrong? Why did they leave? Why does it feel like the world forgot me? But here's the truth that will shift everything for you. Isolation is not punishment. It's preparation. You weren't abandoned. You were being pulled aside. Because what God is preparing to send into your life requires a version of you that can see beyond the surface, that can sense beyond emotion, that can receive without resistance. And that kind of spiritual maturity, it's formed in solitude. Not the kind of solitude that breaks you, but the kind that builds you. God allowed the quiet so you could hear Him more clearly. He removed distractions so your discernment could be sharpened. He silenced the noise so your spirit could awaken to His whispers. You see, when you're surrounded by too many voices, it becomes difficult to recognize His voice. And what's coming next in your life, the help, the opportunity, the connection, it won't look like anything you've seen before. It won't come dressed in the clothes of your past. It won't rise out of the places that once felt safe. It will be unfamiliar, and that's why you had to be trained to recognize it spiritually. Because when your help arrives, it might be wrapped in discomfort. It might come through someone whose background is nothing like yours. It might come through a moment that interrupts your plans completely. And if your heart isn't ready, you'll miss it. You'll misjudge the blessing. You'll question what was meant to confirm you. That's why isolation was necessary. It taught you how to see again. It trained your spirit to notice divine fingerprints on ordinary situations. It created space in your soul to receive something that doesn't make sense to the natural mind. Chosen one, you're not alone. You're in transition. You're being separated not because you're being rejected, but because God is about to introduce something sacred. And sacred things require stillness. They require clarity. They require space to land. That's why people started to fall off. Not because they were all bad, but because they couldn't walk with you into this next chapter. Familiarity can become blindness. Sometimes the people closest to you can't see the glory on your life. Not because they hate you, but because they've gotten used to your process. And so, God makes room. He clears the stage. He dims the lights. Not to punish you, but to help you see the entrance of something holy. Your isolation has been an invitation into deeper sensitivity, an invitation into quiet transformation, an invitation to be recalibrated from the inside out. Because the blessing that's coming, it won't shout. It won't force itself into your life. It will whisper. It will knock gently. And you'll need stillness in your spirit to recognize it. So don't despise this season. Don't rush through it. Don't fight the silence. Embrace it. Let it refine you. Let it clear out old attachments. Let it make room for what heaven is getting ready to send. And when the time comes, when the stranger enters your story, when the opportunity shows up out of nowhere, when the door you didn't knock on swings wide open, you'll be ready. Not because you chased it, not because you manipulated the outcome, but because you were prepared in the quiet, because your ears had been trained to hear what others ignore, because your heart had been softened to receive what others would reject, because your discernment had been sharpened by time spent in the secret place. This is what divine readiness looks like. You don't always feel it happening, but when the moment arrives, you'll know. You'll sense the peace. You'll feel the alignment. And it won't feel like pressure. It will feel like purpose. Chosen one. You've been hidden, not forgotten. Set apart, not sidelined. Protected, not rejected. And now, the quiet is about to make sense. Because the divine introduction is drawing near. So hold steady. Stay faithful. Keep your heart open and your spirit sensitive. The one you've never met is on the way. And when you cross paths, you'll realize the silence was never empty. It was full of preparation. 5. The blesser has also been tested. Chosen one. You've been walking through fire, stretched, refined, tested in ways you never imagined. But here's something you may not have realized. You're not the only one. The person God is sending to bless you, the one with access, with wisdom, with resources, They've been walking through their own wilderness too. You've been asking for help. They've been learning how to obey. You've been waiting for breakthrough. They've been being prepared to carry it. Because God doesn't just prepare the receiver of a blessing, He prepares the vessel who will deliver it. The help you're about to receive isn't random. It's not a favor. It's not luck. It's not charity. It's kingdom assignment. And in the same way you've had to let go of control, lay down pride, endure lonely seasons, and walk by faith, so have they. The divine helper being assigned to your life has also been refined in silence. They've been stripped of comfort, confronted with their own fears, called to release things they once held tightly. And all of that was necessary. Because your elevation requires more than just a handout. It requires someone whose spirit is clean, whose heart is pure, whose obedience is real. God is not going to entrust your next chapter to someone who carries pride, manipulation, or hidden motives. He's preparing someone who can lift without controlling, who can give without needing recognition, who can walk with you without overshadowing you. That's why their testing matters. You're not being matched with someone who's only successful on paper. You're being connected with someone who's successful in the spirit. Someone who's been humbled, who's been taught how to trust God, not just their resources. They might have wealth, but now they have wisdom. They might have influence, but now they walk with integrity. This isn't just partnership. This is divine synchronization. Two souls who've been refined in different ways, now ready to meet for a purpose bigger than either of them. Because you weren't meant to rise alone, and they weren't meant to give without meaning. What's happening here is not transactional, it's transformational. They've been positioned to pour into you, and you've been positioned to carry what they release with honor. There's a holy rhythm to this. God allows both lives to go through fire, so that when they come together, it's not confusion, it's clarity. Not ego, but alignment. And when you meet, there won't be struggle. There won't be forced conversation or questions about what's the catch. There will be peace. You'll know it's divine, not because everything feels perfect, but because everything feels true. This person may not have your background. They may not speak your spiritual language, but they'll move with a sense of obedience you recognize. Their posture will carry heaven's fingerprints. Their timing will carry God's signature. And chosen one, that's why you had to wait. That's why it didn't happen when you wanted it to, because they weren't ready. And if they had shown up too soon, they might have mishandled you. Or worse, you might have made them your source. But now, you've both been prepared. You've learned to trust the giver, not the gift. And they've learned to give without expecting applause. So when your paths finally meet, you'll feel it. In your spirit. In your peace. In the natural flow of how it all unfolds. No striving. No forcing. Just purpose. Because this is what God does. He aligns people, not based on personality, but based on purity. And if you've been tempted to believe that no one is being prepared for you, don't. Someone is being taught how to carry what you're called to receive. Someone is being trained to walk beside you without crushing what God has built in you. Someone is learning how to give, not out of excess, but out of assignment. And when they come, you'll both realize the delays were not denials. They were development. This is not just about you receiving a blessing. This is about you stepping into divine partnership. Because just as someone helped you, you will eventually be the help for someone else. And you'll remember what it felt like to wait, to hope, to wonder if anyone saw you. And from that place of humility, You'll pour into others with the same grace that was poured into you. That's the kingdom way. So don't lose heart. Don't grow bitter waiting for the right connection. God hasn't forgotten you. He's been working on both ends. And soon, you'll see, the helper has also been tested. And together, your obedience will unlock something far greater than you imagined. 6. Be ready for help that looks unfamiliar. Chosen one. Let's be honest. Sometimes the very thing you've been praying for doesn't look the way you imagined when it arrives. And that's where many miss it. You've asked for help. You've cried out for breakthrough. You've declared, believed, and waited. But are you ready for the blessing to come in a form you didn't expect? Because the truth is, God rarely wraps answers in comfort. He doesn't always send help dressed in what's familiar. Sometimes He uses people, places, and moments that feel completely out of place to fulfill your divine appointment. It may be someone from a background you don't relate to. It may be a stranger whose tone rubs you the wrong way at first. It may be a sudden opportunity that interrupts your plans. And your first instinct might be to pull back, to question it, to reject it. But don't. Because what you're feeling might not be discomfort. It might be divine disruption. God isn't obligated to fit into our expectations. He doesn't move according to what feels safe or predictable. He moves according to purpose. And if your pride isn't surrendered, if your assumptions are louder than your discernment, you may overlook the very thing heaven designed to elevate you. Chosen one, hear this. The vessel God uses might offend your logic. It might stretch your boundaries. It might require you to humble yourself in ways that challenge your ego. But it will be holy. And you'll know it not by how it looks, but by how it resonates. Does it carry peace? Does it stir clarity? Does your spirit recognize God's fingerprints on it, even if your mind doesn't? You must be able to discern the divine behind the disguise, because help is coming. And this time, it won't ask for permission. It won't beg to be noticed. It will simply arrive, and it will require you to see with spiritual eyes. Think about this. When Jesus walked among the people, many didn't recognize him. He didn't look like a king. He didn't come with crowns or armies. He came as a carpenter. And because of that, many missed their moment. They couldn't reconcile who he was with how he appeared. Don't let that happen to you. The person God sends may not speak your language. They may not know your struggle. They may not fit into your boxes. But if they're sent, they carry something holy. And it's not your job to test their packaging. It's your responsibility to stay sensitive enough to discern the purpose inside. Let me be clear. Not everything unfamiliar is from God. But not everything familiar is safe either. This is why spiritual discernment matters more now than ever. Because the help that's coming may not come with a halo. It may come through someone who doesn't even know they're being used. They're just following a nudge, responding to a prompting, moving on instinct. And that instinct was whispered by heaven. Your job is to stay humble, to stay open, to let God speak before you react. Don't let the surface make you miss the supernatural. Don't let assumptions block your appointment. Sometimes the miracle comes in quiet clothing. Sometimes the answer looks like inconvenience. Sometimes your breakthrough shows up in a whisper, not a shout. And in those moments, what will matter most is the posture of your heart. Are you willing to receive help that challenges your pride? Are you able to say yes to something that doesn't match your plans? Are you prepared to walk through a door that wasn't labeled the way you thought it would be? Because chosen one, God isn't just interested in blessing you. He's interested in growing you, stretching your vision, training your spirit. And sometimes the way he does that is by sending help in a form that looks nothing like your history. You've prayed for change. Now you must embrace the unfamiliar. Because what's coming is not about comfort. It's about calling. It's about stepping into a chapter you've never seen, through a door you would have never opened on your own. So pay attention. Stay grounded. Be slow to judge, but quick to listen. Let your peace, not your pride, be the guide. Because when help shows up this time, you won't be able to explain it, but your spirit will know. And when it does, respond with honor, respond with faith, respond with the same obedience that brought you this far. Chosen one, the answer is near. But it may not look like you thought it would. It may challenge everything comfortable. It may shake up everything predictable. But it will carry purpose. So stay open, stay awake, stay ready. Because heaven is sending help, not to impress you, but to advance you. This is not about what feels good. It's about what God-ordained help feels like when it's finally on time. 7. Don't idolize the vessel, chosen one. When the help finally arrives, when the door opens, when the blessing is placed in your hands, when someone steps into your life and brings what you've been praying for, you'll feel overwhelmed, grateful, relieved, seen. And that's beautiful. But in that holy moment, remember this: the vessel is not your source. The person who helped you, the opportunity that appeared, the door that opened, they were used by God. But they are not God. This is where many stumble. This is where elevation becomes dangerous. Because when someone finally shows up after a long season of waiting, after all the closed doors, after all the silence, after all the pain, your heart can become so attached to the help that you forget the helper. You begin to lean on the person instead of the presence. You begin to depend on the hand instead of the spirit behind it. And what was once a blessing becomes a barrier. Let this sink in deeply. The blessing is not the end of the journey. It's a checkpoint. Evidence that you're walking in alignment. Yes, honor those who bless you. Yes, give thanks for the connection. Yes, appreciate the vessel. But do not worship the vessel. Do not place your future in the hands of people, no matter how good their intentions are. Because people change, people shift. People can be taken out of your life in an instant. But God remains. He is the same before the help, during the help, and after the help. And He alone is the one writing your story. Chosen one, this is spiritual maturity. To receive a blessing with gratitude, but to hold it loosely, knowing that the source is greater than any single moment of provision. Because here's the danger. If you idolize the person who helped you, you may start believing your destiny is tied to them. That if they walk away, your calling fades. That if they say no, your dream ends. And that's a lie. The vessel is temporary, but the calling on your life is eternal. God may use a stranger today, and someone completely different tomorrow. But He's always in control of the flow. You're not dependent on any one person. You're dependent on God's orchestration. So what's the posture you must carry? Honor the vessel. Stay rooted in the source. That means you say thank you. You bless them. You carry integrity in the connection. But you don't place your identity in their hands. They're a mirror, not a master. A delivery system, not the deliverer. They were sent to serve a purpose in your journey, not to replace the one who authored it. This is how you stay steady. This is how you keep from building idols in the wilderness. Because let's be honest, it's tempting. When you've walked through rejection, when you've been unseen for so long, when someone finally recognizes your value, it's easy to give them too much weight in your story. But even the best people are still just people. And your soul must remain anchored in God, not in a person who was sent to help along the way. The same God who sent help today is already scheduling the next answer for tomorrow. And that's what gives you peace. You don't have to hold on to anyone in fear. You don't have to grasp relationships tightly, hoping they'll never change. Because even if they walk away, God remains. And what He begins, He is faithful to finish. So breathe easy. Love people. Honor their role. Receive the gift. But keep your eyes on the giver. Because when the time comes, when God calls you to be the vessel for someone else, you'll understand what it means to carry power with humility. You'll know how to pour out without controlling. You'll know how to give freely without demanding to be worshipped for it. And that's how the kingdom flows. Chosen one. You're stepping into answered prayers. You're being surrounded by divine assistance. And it's beautiful. But let your roots grow deeper than the blessing. Let your soul stay connected to the one who made the way. So when the applause fades, when the helper exits, when the season shifts again, you'll still be standing, firm, peaceful, unmoved. Because your foundation wasn't built on people. It was built on the one who never changes. And that's how you walk through open doors without losing your identity. That's how you elevate without falling into pride. That's how you carry glory without seeking credit. So yes, help is arriving. And yes, you should rejoice. But stay grounded. Stay grateful. And never confuse the messenger with the maker. Chosen one, you've heard every word in this message for a reason. It wasn't just information, it was confirmation. God is speaking, clearly, gently, with intention. And now, it's your turn to respond. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't just a motivational talk. This was alignment. A divine moment where your spirit met truth. Because you needed the reminder. You're not walking alone. You're not forgotten. And no, your prayers have not gone unheard. Help is coming, but not in the way you expected. Not through old circles. Not from people you've leaned on before. It's coming through someone you've never met, and it will be right on time. They are being positioned, just like you've been prepared. So now, stay grounded. Stay faithful. Keep your heart soft and your spirit open. Because when the divine connection happens, it will feel like purpose, not pressure. Peace, not confusion. Confirmation, not chaos. But more than that, don't lose sight of the source. Don't idolize the vessel. Don't let the blessing distract you from the one who sent it. This is not the end of your journey. It's a checkpoint. A holy turning point. Evidence that you are in alignment with heaven's timeline. So move forward with quiet confidence. Walk into this next chapter with humility and boldness. And remember this, what's coming is not just for your comfort, it's for your calling. It's part of a bigger story, a greater assignment. And you were chosen to carry it. So breathe, be still, and prepare your heart. Because the very thing you thought was delayed is already being delivered. Your name is being spoken in rooms you've never entered. Your spirit has already made the introduction your voice never had to speak. And your obedience has activated something far beyond your reach. Stay in position. Stay in purpose. Because help is not on the way. It's already in motion. If this word spoke to your spirit, drop 999 in the comments as your confirmation. It's not just a number, it's a prophetic agreement that you're aligned, you're expectant, and you're ready. And if you haven't yet, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Because this is just the beginning. There is more revelation coming, more messages to guide you, more confirmation to strengthen your spirit. Until then, keep trusting, keep praying, keep listening. You are seen. You are chosen, and help is already on its way.